These are my tips for saving CPU. There might be others, but these are the ones I do. So first, I go up to Options, Audio Settings, and I check my buffer length. If the buffer length for your particular interface is very low, it'll have low latency, and that's great for playing notes in and not having a big delay. But it also eats up a lot of CPU, and so you're going to want to increase this as much as possible. The interface you use and the drivers they have is also going to play a very big role. So in mine, I'm using a Focusrite. If you don't have one, I recommend using the FL Studio ASIO. If this is not enough to fix your project and get it to play back smoothly, the next step is to go over to the project, and under time settings, there is the time base pulse per quarter PPQ. You're going to want this as low as possible. This will affect how far you can zoom in on the sequence area over here, but it will save you a bunch of resources. So if this is a problem, you could try this out as well. If those don't work, it's time to start bouncing audio. You can get almost any project to work smoothly if you just bounce the audio. It's a pretty simple process. You just go to the track you'd like to bounce, you right click on it, and you go to Consolidate Tracks, and then you choose from Track Start or from Song Start. It'll render it out as audio, and it will save and mute the MIDI above it. If you want to bring that MIDI back, you can mute that track and just hit Alt while over it. And specifically, it has to be the right Alt, and it'll unmute those. And you can edit the MIDI and then reconsolidate it if you need to edit it again. Some plugins have settings that can dramatically affect the CPU. For example, here's the Pro L2. If I turn oversampling on, it even tells you very CPU intensive. Anything with oversampling, you're going to want to turn that down when you're working. When you render, you might want to turn it on. Some plugins have a draft mode and a render mode that allow them to operate at a lower level. And then when you render, they can use the higher resolution. In some situations, you just have to render to audio if you want to save the CPU. For example, in Faceplant, it is possible to have per voice unison, which can be very taxing on the CPU. And you're just going to have to render it to audio if you want to use that and save that space. I'm telling you, rendering to audio is going to be the go-to. There are plugins that just stink overall at CPU resources. And for those plugins, you just got to look elsewhere or resolve to printing to audio again. iZotope back in the day, if I even had the interface open, it would spike my CPU consumption. And if I closed it, for some reason, it would go way down. So something to consider. Another thing you could try is you go up to Tools, Macros, switch Smart Disable for all plugins. This will make it so that the plugins are not taking up resources when they are not active. And this could sometimes play a huge role in getting a project to open. But once you're playing the project, you're going to have these same issues and you're going to have to rely on the previous methods. If you have another one, let me know down below. But for me, the buffer size, the PPQ, and the render to audio are the go-tos for fixing stuff. After that, there might be some plugin specific stuff you can do, but it's really, you have a choice of just upgrading your hardware, getting a more powerful interface or a more powerful CPU, or just doing things in a smarter way, making synth lines that don't require such enormous amounts of processing. But these are the things that have worked for me. Let me know down below what your secrets are. If I missed a big one that you're like, oh, this is the thing for me that's worked really good. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos, and have a blessed day.